I am returned with what you've all been waiting for. Okay, nobody was waiting for this really, but still. So, yeah, my MGP, den finale 2, semi-final 2 ranking. I'm gonna give some predictions maybe. But yeah, before I do that, I'm gonna go through what the press thinks of these songs now. Oof. Well, I'm not in much agreement with the Norwegian press and the music reviewers for this semi-final. So bear with me a bit, stick around guys, because we're soon going to get onto the rankings. So Untitled Chapter has 2 reviewers. One of those has given Waste and Turn Off My Heart 5 out of 6. Fuego, Drøm det bort 4 out of 6. Ekko inni meg and Love You in a Dream 3 out of 6, and Prohibition 2 out of 6. The second Untitled Chapter reviewer gave Love You in a Dream 6 out of 6, Prohibition and Waste 5 out of 6, Turn Off My Heart 4 out of 6, Drøm det bort 3 out of 6, Fuego and Ekko inni meg 2 out of 6. Anyway, Edvardsen has given Prohibition, Waste and Love You in a Dream 7 out of 10, Fuego and Turn Off My Heart 6 out of 10, Ekko inni meg and Drøm det bort 5 out of 10. They put 2 of my top 3 the bottom. So we've also got Aftenposten, whose reviewer gave Love You in a Dream 5 out of 6, Drøm det bort and Waste 4 out of 6, Turn Off My Heart 3 out of 6, and Prohibition, Ekko inni meg and Fuego 2 out of 6. And that leaves 2 overall press review scores where I have done some maths to convert them all into an out of 10 system and then average them. Yeah, okay. Love You in a Dream 7.575, yeah, there's some weird decimal places. Waste 7.55, so extremely close there. Turn Off My Heart 6.475. Drøm det bort 5.8. Prohibition 5.475. Fuego 4.8 and Ekko inni meg 4.15. If I speak, I think the maths is right anyway. I would like for it to not be correct in some cases, but there we go. One of the things I found with some of these reviews is that they are way too focused on what Europe will like, so what's good for Eurovision, but they're not very good at determining exactly what that is, or I think they're wrong in predicting it. I think they just kind of have this idea of what a Eurovision song is, so they just kind of like dismiss some and say, oh, it's not gonna really do well in Europe. Also, some of the headlines on these like music review articles are quite scathing. The Aftenposten article title is something like, if a single one of these songs wins, it's too embarrassing. Like, what? Like, gosh, they're not that bad. Like, I quite like some of them. I quite love some of them. Like, I mean, article titles always tend to be a bit dramatic, so I mean, it's not going to reflect like the opinions on all the songs, but like, way to be negative. Now, let's get on to my ranking. So my 7th place of this semi-final is Fuego. Now, well, if you couldn't tell, I am actually Latina myself, but I, however, am not a fan of Latina music, so okay, but seriously, like, it's not a bad song at all. Like, I don't mind listening to it, and that is a phrase I say quite a lot. That in itself is a warning sign because it means that it just doesn't really mean much to me. I mean, it's alright, I wouldn't turn it off. Like, it just means, like, I mean, it didn't really have much of an impact on me. Like, also, this song, like, I feel like it's just too generic within its genre. The part where he's like, Fuego, like, oh, singing Rosie. That is not my best work, but anyway, that is catchy. I do remember that bit. The thing is that it's just not really giving me all that much, you know? But hey, credit where credit is due, at least he committed to the Spanish. I can applaud that. But hey, other than that, it's just not really giving me all that much. So unfortunately, it is my 7th place. Honestly, even like the title, when I heard that the title was Fuego, I was like, oh, this is such a typical generic title for a song. Anyway, so my 6th place in this semi-final of MGP is Turn Off My Heart by Bjørn, Olav, Edvardsen. Now, funny enough, this guy isn't only competing with one song, but 2 songs. What is the other one, you may ask? Well, he is a writer on Geronimo. And I find that quite funny because this song is very different to Geronimo. Like, Geronimo is like full on like K-pop influences, like pop and dance and all of that. Meanwhile, this is a ballad, and it's very, very ballady. 2 songs. What is the other one, you may ask? Well, he is a writer on Geronimo. And I find that quite funny because this song is very different to Geronimo. Like, Geronimo is like full on like K-pop influences, like pop and dance and all of that. Meanwhile, this is a ballad, and it's very, very ballady. I mean, I do appreciate the feelings expressed in the lyrics, because it's like, it's funny how much I care about stuff, the tiniest things can get me to tear up, etc. Like, it's about like how wishing you could just like flip a switch on your feelings. Yeah, I get that. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty nice, to be honest. But the issue I'm finding is that it just doesn't really stick out to me like as a song. Like, if we're gonna have like a ballad, like, we need it to like really stick out, like amongst other ballads. And this is the issue I'm finding here, because to me this doesn't like really stand out all that much. Whilst it's like pleasant to listen to or whatever, like, I don't feel like that kind of thing, that special little thing which makes it stick out. These lyrics, I mean, I feel like they're pretty like relatable, but unfortunately that doesn't get it up to further than a 6 in my semi-final 2 rankings. Next, my 5th place in semi-final 2 is Waste. Now, I know that this song does have like some like dedicated fans. Yeah, I kind of feel bad for putting this as low as I've put it, but like, I don't feel like I can move anything else down. That's the issue here. It just depends on what music I like to listen to and the genres that I like. And I mean, to be honest, this one is catchy. I'll give it that. It is very catchy, to be honest. Like, I think it has a chance of going to the final, definitely. To be honest, in this semi I can see more than 3 like qualifying, even though only 3 can qualify. Like, it's a bit harder to predict than semi 1 as well. So I mean, some songs have to go. I think that Waste won't necessarily be one of them, but in my own ranking, unfortunately, yeah. It's a bop though, I've got it stuck in my head right now. It's just not the style of music I generally go for. I feel like with this one, the qualifying chances and how well it does really depends on the live performance, because it's like a dance song. Like, it's a song that you want to dance to. It's something that makes you want to move and all of that. Now, I'm not somebody who moves very much. Well, I did move continent, but, you know, like, in terms of, like, having a bit of a good old dance, I'm not that much of a mover, even though I was a dancer. So yeah, this is part of the reason why it's not really my style. But yeah, if the performance is, like, super, like, good, there's the dancing's really good, the energy is brought onto stage, and everybody gets up and dances to it, then this can definitely go to the final. Now, in terms of the music reviews I've seen on this, on Waste, they really like it. Out of all the songs of this semi-final, when I combine the scores between all of like the different media outlets together, Waste comes second. And this is a close second. This is like nearly first. This is like less than a decimal point away. Also, in this song, there's some Portuguese and then some Norwegian, which I quite like. I love a good bit of Norwegian and Portuguese. I do not speak Portuguese, to be honest, but I like to hear it anyway. Also, I love a good Northern Norwegian dialect, I do. And Ella is from Tromsø. Well, she's from Brazil, but also Tromsø. So, or that dialect. I actually quite like that dialect, I do. Northern Norwegians, teach me your dialects. And my 4th place in semi-final 2 is Prohibition by Swingers. Now this one is super unique. It's given those Prohibition party vibes, underground party and all of that, cabaret, etc. And this group has travelled to many a city to perform. Just kind of like a, you know, come on and party with us type of song. Prohibition was 1920 to 1933. In case you wanted to know. I should really know this for someone who studied like American politics and the American Constitution, but well, it looks like I just forgot, you know. But hey, this one is great fun, to be honest. Like, their like whole thing is like super unique in this like MGP context. So this can drag viewers in because who is going to forget this? But yeah, unfortunately this song it just isn't in my qualifiers because, well, I love my top 3, I do. But on to my 3rd place, it is Drum de Bot. So she has never actually participated in MGP before, despite having a nearly 20-year career as a singer. Although she did compete technically last year because she was a songwriter on North Kid's Someone. The NRK description says about Drum de Bot that it's a song about vulnerability, hope and strength. And I had to read through the lyrics. And this song, well, it's about dreaming it away because Drum de Bot means dream it away. And she's singing about a girl who has heard and seen things no child should have seen. And at the start, the girl's kind of covering her ears, like hiding under the stairs. And then the song's about how that girl has grown up and wonders when time will heal her wounds and how she is waiting, how she's stronger than thunder and lightning, then how she finds, you know, the shield, sword, and how nobody can stop her. But then, in the next verse, so like, it's like the last lyrics before the na 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 starts again, the perspective shifts. We find out that it's herself she is singing about. And then she sings, for example, like, instead of like she like finds the shield, the sword, and nobody can stop her, she sings, I find the shield, the sword, nobody can stop me. So at the end there's kind of like this twist in a way, where she kind of like shares with us that it's herself she's singing about. But I find that pretty impactful, pretty powerful. So I love this song, I do. You know, I've said I love a good Northern Norwegian dialect. So now something rather significant about Sondre Lyng is that she is very well known. As I've mentioned, she has like around 2 decades of experience as a singer. So like out of all the artists competing, she is probably the most well-known one, if I am correct. But yeah, so something which can help her is obviously that name recognition. Although to be honest, I think the song deserves it anyway, like regardless of like name recognition, etc. Like I think this song deserves to go through anyway. That's why it's in my top 3. But now we move on to my top 2, and this was incredibly difficult because my top 2 here, I wasn't sure which to put first because I love both of them so much. So, I finally come to a decision. A very hard decision. And my second place in this semi-final is Love You in a Dream by Elsie. Okay, so Love You in a Dream is the favourite of the reviewers from this semi-final, which makes sense to me because that is a beautiful song, and it's also the type I'd expect juries to appreciate. I mean, as for the reviews, one reviewer did find it boring, another thought it holds your attention the whole way, but is scared that some people will find it boring. But overall it is the favourite of the reviewers. Well, I'm a very easily bored person, and it didn't bore me, so I think that's a pretty good sign. I don't feel myself like waiting for a build-up as much as some like other ballad type songs. Like, I was just kind of like enjoying the ride, to be honest. Like, I was just there, you know, listening and appreciating it, and then there's a build-up. Nice! I imagine that this will go through to the final. I cannot comprehend the idea of it possibly not going through. Like, to me, like, this has to go through or it's a massive injustice. I don't know if it's already uploaded or if it will be uploaded after this, but I have recorded a reaction to Love You in a Dream, so that may go into more detail about what I think about this song. You know what that means, don't you? It means that my first place is Ecco Inni Mai by Bjørn. It's a bop. I've already uploaded a reaction to that on my channel, so if you want to watch, cool. But the reviewers, well, I didn't expect them to like this kind of music, and well, I was kind of right in that assumption, to be honest. So we've got some interesting reviews translated by me, probably pretty badly, but you know. One reviewer said, "I'm completely sure that the audience will say no thank you fairly quickly." I don't really agree with this one. Like, unless like the live's disastrous, then like, I mean, people clearly like the song. Like, have you looked at Norway's daily Spotify chart list? So on the 50 most popular Norway daily Spotify list, Ecco Inni Mai is the only one from semi-final 2 on this list, currently at 37. And the only other 2 MGP songs which are on this list are Honestly, which is 50 currently, and Queen of Kings, which is 23rd. And the second semi-final hasn't even happened yet. So I would say this song has like at least gotten some good reception. Like, come on. Also, I know quite a few non-Norwegians who do love this song. Now, I mentioned that because another reviewer said this isn't 100% Norwegian genre. I don't think it has a chance in Europe. Why is that? I get that it is very Norwegian, but that doesn't mean that it's not going to do well out in Europe. Like, I think Eurovision's a good chance for a country to show its music scene and their entry. And if the attitude we're going to have is we shouldn't send something Norwegian because it won't do well in Europe, like, what? I get that a country wants to do well in Eurovision, but where does this assumption that it's not going to do well in Europe come from? I don't think it will go to Eurovision anyway, because I think there are other songs which are more in contention for the win in MGP to go to Eurovision. But still, like, just to kind of prematurely say, hey, this isn't going to do well in Eurovision, nah. But anyway, that is my ranking for MGP's second semi-final this year. But how will these songs actually do, and which ones are going to qualify? Well, I mean, we don't really know, but we can make some observations. So, Norway. Who will qualify from Heat 2? Bookmakers have predicted Elsie, Bjørn and Sondre Lyng. Well, that's my top 3 in a different order, so I'm satisfied with that. I am very happy with that. If that actually happens, very good. I approve. Rosie Susanna ESC approved. But the betting odds aren't always correct. If you have watched my last semi-final review video, you will see that Tresco was predicted to qualify and not Geronimo, although I myself predicted that Geronimo would qualify. So the thing is that with Elsie, Bjørn, Sondre Lyng and Ella, I think that, well, the 3 who qualify will be out of those 4, most likely anyway. But the thing is that I'm finding it difficult to say who of those won't qualify, because I feel like all of those 4 have a good qualifying chance. Also, if you're hearing this howling, it's the wind outside. That's Canada for you. Oof. Honestly, it's going to partially depend on live performance, because if one of these like flops live, then well, then they're probably going to go out and not get to the final. But I just don't know yet because we haven't seen the performances. So what do I do when I'm struggling to come up with predictions? I ask the group chat. So it seems that I'm not the only one having this debate in my head, because, well, I asked the group chat for some predictions, and then we got some changing predictions. Right, so after a prediction change, my good old friend, well, good old, not really old, but anyway, my friend Will, he has given his judgment and he says Bjørn, Elsie and Sandra, but if Bjørn Thorp's lied, then Ella. So another friend, very mysterious, has given their judgments, and their predictions are Bjørn, Elsie Bay and Sandra Ring. But hey, what about running order? Okay, so in the running order, Bjørn performs first, followed by Sandra Ring, so she's got the second position there. Third, Alejandro Fuentes. Swing It perform fourth. Elsie Bay performs fifth. Ella performs sixth. And closing off is Bjørn, Olav, Edvardsen with Turn Off My Heart. Interestingly enough, if we look at the running order, the places which qualified in the last semi-final were first, fifth and sixth. And in those places for this semi-final are Bjørn, Elsie Bay and Ella. So will it turn out that these are in fact the qualifiers? It would be a bit strange kind of actually to have like two semi-finals the exact same running order positions qualify. So according to my friendship group, the qualifiers may be Bjørn with Ekko inni meg, Sandra Ring with Drøm debut, and Elsie Bay with Love You in a Dream. But it's very possible, in my opinion, that Ella with Waste can qualify, but I just don't know who would be out. Anyway, so that's my rankings and me and my friends' predictions. Still a bit unsure about those, but I always am. Making predictions always kind of scares me because, like, what if I'm wrong? But you know, what if somebody comes at me with a pitchfork because I was wrong? Like, probably won't happen, but you know. Anyway, so I hope to see you liking my next video. And all the other ones, you know. Anyway, I'll see ya when soon. Hopefully this video ages well. But we can only hope. Bye.